Hi, everybody, and good morning. It is Thursday, January. I forgot what I almost said June. Skipped us ahead to June. Thursday, January 27th, and we're here for my Intro Psych online classes that I have. There should be two of you joining me today. That's so funny. Apparently I was dreaming of summer, which is weird because it's kind of chilly outside. But good morning. Thank you so much for being on here with me. We're here for week number 3 of our Intro Psych online class. So thank you again for joining me. I see a lot of you getting your names in the chat, which is perfect. And our plan for today, kind of like last week, we will look a little bit at some feedback from last week's content, and then take a look at what is due this week. I will give you the extra credit question and then see if you have any questions for me. So a very kind of typical and usual week. No chance, we're just getting started right now for Intro Psych, so totally fine if you're just joining us. That's perfect. But yeah, good morning. It feels like a long time ago, but lots of fun football this week. I feel like I have to talk about football because it is it's my favorite thing in life, and it's almost over, and it's so sad. But I don't know if any of you watched the games this last weekend, but wow. I've shared with all of you that I'm a big Tom Brady fan, and I was a little sad that he lost. I think I still even, yep, I'm wearing my it's like my Patriot Bucks shirt underneath my sweatshirt here. It's like a hybrid logo, but I'm such a big Tom Brady fan. I was sad he lost. I've gotten spoiled for many, many years of him going to the Super Bowl. But that was a wild game, a wild end to that game. And then oh my gosh, the Bills and the Chiefs was insane. I've never seen anything like that. Just absolutely amazing. There at that last like 2 minutes of the game was insane. The Chiefs and the Bills. Yeah, I was like pacing around. I'm a big Mahomes fan, and I was hoping that he would pull it off. He had 13 seconds, and the Chiefs managed to get halfway down the field and score a field goal. Really cool. There's some funny like quotes and shirts and memes that came out of it. Like one of them says, "Just give me 13 seconds and see what I can do." Which is just hilarious, right? And all of the possible meanings of that. But I love that shirt. And then another one that says, "When things are grim, be the Grim Reaper." I might have to look into some new shirts as a result of that game. Just wow, 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 right? So I hope we have some more fun games this weekend. You're pretty sure your brother is losing fantasy football right now. Yeah, hopefully it's over. All of my leagues are done since all the teams are down to just a few. And then Tropical Geek, you said when they're not subscribed, they will be taken away for advertisements at the beginning at random times. Yes, I can. I have disabled ads for anyone who is subscribed. So the only one that you will get is the one at the beginning. Otherwise, there should be no ads if you're subscribed throughout the stream, which is so nice. Ads are disruptive and annoying, right? So annoying. So thank you for that. But anyway, I will focus back in. I could talk about football forever. And yes, thank you. But I will refrain from only talking about football today. So let's go ahead and go over to Canvas together and take a look at what we have going on. So we are in week number 3, not June, sadly, but we are still moving along through the semester, and now in week number 3. So I just want to make a few comments about week number 2, and then we will talk about what we have happening this week. So last week we were looking at psychology as a science, right? How do we think about the world in a very scientific way? What are the different ways that we can conduct research? And your discussion last week was if you could pretend to be a psychologist and study anything, what is it that you would study? How would you do it? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And I have to say that I really enjoyed all of the topics that you came up with. There were some topics about people wanting to know about COVID, how many people have had it, what are the long-term effects, serial killers, super, super popular. A lot of you wanted to know about serial killers. Some of you talking about, how much time you spend studying and kind of more academic things all over the board. And I really loved all of the fun topics that you came up with. the number one reason that people lost points was not giving me enough information on the second question or the second bullet. And remember that every week I will give you feedback from the discussion rubric, and then I oftentimes will put some comments down below as well. So make sure that you're always looking at the feedback and comments so that you can learn and grow and try and get those full points every week. And if you ever want more feedback, you can email me, of course, and I'd be happy to answer. But this was the one that people struggled with. How would you examine your question or topic? What kind of research method would you use? How would you set it up? So several of you just said, I would use a survey and kind of left it at that, or I'd do an experiment but didn't elaborate. If you were going to do a survey, what kind of questions would you want to know? What kind of questions would you ask? If you were doing an experiment, what would your groups be? And so that's where I saw some of you lose a few points, not giving me quite enough information, especially on that question. And then forgetting to respond to a classmate. So don't forget to always reply to a classmate or a peer. You need to read through maybe about 5 of them. That's what I put up here as a suggestion. Read through a minimum of 5 of your classmates' posts and then reply to one of them. So don't forget to be doing that every week. Those are a very easy 2 points that you want to make sure that you can earn. But otherwise, really nicely done. Some fun and interesting research topics. And thank you. I enjoyed reading about them. And some of them would be a lot of fun to actually go out and do, should that be if that were actually an option. So the other thing last week, a lot of you did the extra credit and did a great job with that, getting those full 2 points for that. Remember that I'll always post a recording of our live stream. So if you do miss it for some reason, or you're not able to make it, or you only make part of it, you can always watch that later on. So we move on to week number 3, but any other questions, comments, thoughts, anything from week 2 before I move forward? I'm going to put that in the chat here. Any questions or comments or thoughts or anything at all before I move to week number 3? I'm sorry if I confused some of you with my email that I sent out about the classes going back in person. I just figured I would pass that information along. Our classes are virtual, 100% online all semester, no matter what. So I'm sorry I confused and panicked a few of you. I just wanted to let you know, if you did have any classes that were supposed to be in person, it sounds like the college is moving toward those being back in person as of February 14th. So sorry for any confusion on that. I just wanted to pass that information along to you. So anyway, let's go to week 3. This week we're talking about biological psychology. So we're looking at neurons and the brain and the different systems within the body that work together, like the nervous system and endocrine system, limbic system, and so on. So that is our topic for this week. Make sure, probably order of business number 1, you're going to want to read chapter 3 in the ebook. So make sure that you're reading the chapter, getting all of that information and that overview. The images and things I put in there should be helpful, and of course the content as well. Then you're going to want to complete the 2 lecture components. So there is the typed up lecture and then the video lecture. So let's take a look at these together really quickly. The 5-page typed lecture, remember you have these 5 tabs at the top. So page number 1, objectives and summary. What will I learn? Here's the summary of the chapter. And you can always listen to it if you miss the sound of my voice or would rather hear it instead of read it. On the Beyond the Book page, I have a couple of tutorials that might be really helpful for you. And so I put them on here in case you would like to utilize them. One of them is about the 3 different types of neurons. There's also one on action potentials and neurotransmitters, really helpful in understanding that process, which can be a little bit confusing. Some information about studying the brain, and then the 10% myth, which is something that we will look at in the discussion for this week. In pop culture, a couple of things. A fun clip from The Walking Dead way back in season 1 when everyone was all little or still alive, right? If you watch that show, there's a little clip about neurons that I included in here. A fun clip from an old show called The Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, where he goes over the different parts of the brain. And then there's a little video here as well about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and how that relates to motor neurons which we're talking about this week. Yes, the 10% myth of the brain, super interesting. My mother-in-law literally like last week was all like, if I only had access to the rest of my brain. And I'm like, you do, it's a myth, right? So, I want you all to have that knowledge and know that it is a myth, something we're focusing on in our discussion this week. The key terms in review, here are all the terms you need to know for exam number 1, which is coming up next week. So next week, we will spend a bunch of time talking about the first exam and how you can study and prepare for that. So I'll go through that next week in detail with you and hopefully help you to feel as good as you can about the test next week. The last page is application. How do we understand spinal cord injury and the importance of experiences? So as always, make sure that you read through this, click on anything that I include, watch the videos that I put in there. All of it together will really help you to get that richness and understanding of the topic. And then, as usual, you'll want to also watch the lecture video that I made for you. And this is me lecturing to PowerPoint slides. You're going to want to take notes or at least pay attention. The materials here will definitely appear on the exam. So here's me lecturing to that topic. And this one, since I didn't have any outside clips, is posted on YouTube. So you could watch it from anywhere, which is always nice. So those are all kind of things like usual. Again, a very kind of typical week for the most part for us. So read the chapter, watch and complete the 2 lecture components, and then your discussion for this week, discussion number 3. You'll have a discussion every single week. As usual, here are the instructions. Watch my little video. Be sure to answer all of my questions in a very elaborative, detailed manner. Show off your knowledge and comprehension and ability to apply the information. And then make sure that you also, as I just reminded you, read through a minimum of 5 of your classmates' posts and reply to 1 of them. So you want to get those full 15 points, and 2 of those points are from replying to a classmate. So your questions for this week, a couple of things. First, number 1, what are neurons and why are they important? So what are they? Describe them to me. You could talk about different types of them or their functions, whatever you would like to share. Why are they important for the way that we work and function? Number 2, referencing the specific chain of events and processes involved, describe how neurons communicate with each other. And I will give you a heads up. Number 2 is typically where people lose points. Okay. Miriam, you just need to put your first and last name in the chat if that's what you're. The checking in. I'm going to talk about that. Gotcha. I thought you meant. I misunderstood. I'll talk about that in a minute. That's the next thing for this week. So I will. I'll get there in just a couple of minutes. Thank you for asking. So this is where people tend to lose points. Okay, and I see this over and over again. Make sure that you elaborate on the chain of events involved in neurons talking to each other. So you should be talking about action potentials and electrochemical communication and all those different components. Make sure that you really go into detail here. That's where people tend to lose points. So just giving you that heads up to try and help you out. And then you're going to read these articles about the 10% myth. Really interesting. These are all short. They kind of overlap quite a bit. You can listen to me reading them to you if you would like. But read these short articles about what the myth is, why we know it to be false. There's 3 of them. They're all really brief, but they kind of all together get at answering that really, really well. So you're going to read those 3 articles, and then you can answer these last 2 questions about the 10% myth. What is it? What is the 10% myth? What are its origins and beginnings? Describe it. And then provide 2 reasons or pieces of evidence why we know that the 10% myth is false. And so again, these are your questions for the week. When you're ready, you will hit reply. And then also make sure that you read through your classmates. So let's say I really like the way that Nola, hope I said that right, wrote her information up. I could hit reply and answer it. Or maybe Zachary, I was like, oh, the way you described how neurons communicate is so helpful, right? I could reply to Zachary. So make sure that you're not only answering my questions, but also replying to a classmate. And no worries, if you get kicked out, you can always come back in. And that happens, of course. It happens periodically, especially with the wind, right? It's like the second it gets windy, my internet starts to hurt. So perfect. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back here. The last thing that we have this week that is a little different than normal, and I'll talk about the extra credit in a moment. The campus is trying to implement this across courses that are online, and I think it's a fantastic idea. And so I have added it this semester. It's my way of checking in with you. So there's a little survey called Checking In. And so if you click on that, what you will see here is that there's basically 2 questions that you're going to be answering for me. And this is just my way of making sure that you're feeling good about the class. If there's anything you're confused about, that you can tell me that. This is completely anonymous. So feel free to be honest. You won't hurt my feelings. If you tell me that you're confused or you don't like something, if you like something, please say that too. It's always nice to hear. But if there's anything that you're confused about or need more information or clarification on, this is your opportunity to let me know. And again, it is completely anonymous. So when you're ready, you'll hit Take Survey. And by doing this here, you'll bring up these 2 questions, and all that you have to do is answer them in the boxes here. And so number 1, are you comfortable with the course website and requirements? After reading the mandatory orientation syllabus, completing the first 2 weeks of content, and so on. So if you're feeling comfortable and everything's clear, you can let me know. If not, please give me an explanation of how I could maybe make it more clear, what you're confused on. I'm always trying to improve. So if there's something that I didn't make clear, this would be a wonderful place to let me know about that. And then number 2, do you have any additional questions or comments? Anything about the course, the readings, the assignments, the structure? And again, you won't hurt my feelings. Please feel free to be honest. It is anonymous. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you're feeling good and you don't have any questions, say that too. That's completely fine. But make sure that you do this before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Again, just checking in and getting a little bit of information from you and some feedback early on about the course, things you like, maybe things that could be better, and so on. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Miriam, about the survey. Again, it's just an opportunity for me to get some feedback with and from you, and give you a chance to check in with me and let me know if you have any questions. All right. So those are the big components for this week. I have a couple of reminders, and I want to talk about the extra credit. But if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, my reminders for you, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record. I will remind you every week, just because it's my one chance to do so. Please make sure that you take a moment every week to just double check that you are subscribed, if possible. If you couldn't figure it out, or you didn't have a way to do this for free, that's okay, of course. But if you are able to figure it out and link your Amazon and Twitch accounts together, I really appreciate it. As I've mentioned a couple of times, it saves me so much time. And with 7 classes and 3 little kids, and we start softball this week for all of them, I appreciate anything you can do that helps me out there. A couple of you, and I've said this a few times, a couple of you haven't done all of the steps. And the way that you can know that is if you look at your name in the chat, Bernaldo, Solomon, Janelle, and I think that is it. If you only have the Twitch crown next to your name, and those of you who I just said your name, that is the case, you still need to do one more step, and that is to go onto my channel and hit that purple drop-down menu and hit the subscribe for free with Twitch button. And I was trying to show my class in my last course how to do that here. Let me see if I can show you. A lot of you haven't done this, and if you can't figure it out, that's okay, but I'll show you one last time. I don't want to waste too much time on it. But if you are on my page, and pretend this is me, I cannot show you on my page, so just pretend this is me, it's my buddies, but pretend it was my channel. Notice right here underneath, like the main screen, there is a little purple bar. And hopefully you can see it on your end. I made it smaller so you'd be able to see it. Yep, I can see it on mine. So if you click this drop down button, it's going to open up this little page that pops up here. scroll all the way down. And again, my buddies have a lot of emotes because they do this for a living, and they're way more popular. They do this and play video games, and they're fun to watch too. But little plug for them, I guess. But all the way down here at the bottom, see how it says use Prime sub? If you click that, now it says subscribe with Prime for free. Okay, so that was the last piece. Those of you who I mentioned, a couple of you haven't done that, like Janelle, and I'm just checking one more time, Janelle and Bernaldo, and is it Solomon? I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. So just make sure if you can that you go through and do that last step, or if you haven't done any of it, you can still go back and subscribe. I'll remind you every week. Next week, what you'll see is a lot of you will fall off. If you subscribe that first week, 30 days is coming up in about a week or so. So you just have to renew it every month. Okay, I don't want to, that's enough on that, but just to put that in there. You're get on it right now. I love it. The other thing, our next, I can't type and talk. Our next Twitch live stream will be next Thursday. We'll be on Thursday 2/3 at 11 o'clock in the morning. Oh, my battery's going on here. At 11 o'clock. Yes, thank you. Keeps letting me know. At 11 o'clock a.m. Okay, so our next Twitch live stream will be next Thursday morning at 11. I want to give you a heads up. Because some of my classes are going to start meeting in person in February, there is an excellent chance that I will have to change our time. I will let you know as soon as I figure that out. We'll see what happens. There's always the chance we still don't go back. So just stay tuned in the next coming weeks. I will let you know if I'm going to change it for any reason. But for now, we will stick with the same day and time. So next Thursday at 11, I will be on here live for our week number 4 live stream. And next week, I will be going over exam number 1. So it's going to be a good week. If you have any questions about the study guide or about the test, anything I can answer, next week would be a wonderful time to ask. And again, I'll go through it. I'll show you where to take the test. I'll give you some pointers and tips and suggestions. I will do whatever I can to help you feel as good as you can about the exam. I know they cause a lot of anxiety. So next week, that will be our big focus, in addition to some quick reminders and feedback. Okay, so next Thursday morning at 11. The last thing I have for you before we call it a day is your extra credit questions. So let me get that going here. I wrote it down. And this is something that should help you quite a bit on the discussion. Okay, so you should be mentioning the same stuff in the discussion this week. So I'm going to get you thinking about it. And you're welcome to use the same stuff that you write up. You can add to it in the discussion. So your question for today, for this week, what is meant by electrochemical communication? Describe both pieces of how neurons communicate with each other. So describe electrochemical communication. What is the electrical piece? And what is the chemical piece, right? And that should be in your discussion for this week in that second question that I pointed out. So I'm going to get you thinking about it, help you out a little bit there. When you're ready to answer this, head over to Canvas. We are in week number 3, so you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 3. And I'm glad so many of you are doing this every week. These extra points are just going to take the pressure off exams. They're going to add up and help you out. It might cover a missed discussion if at some point something comes up and you don't get to it. So I love that so many of you are doing this. That's great. And thank you again for all of you who are joining me. I really look forward to this time. I don't see people very often anymore. So I love that you're here with me. And I love when you ask questions and comment. It makes me very happy. So thank you. But up here at the top, click Start Assignment. And in the box that opens up, you will type your response. Hopefully you'll spell it better than I did. And then hit Submit Assignment, and you get the confetti burst. And what else? Let's see. Balloons today. Yesterday was fire. So hot air balloons. We'll see what you end up with. But this is due before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And if you answer it early in the week, I will give you feedback if you get it wrong or if you accidentally answer the wrong question. But due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so those are the big things for this week. Just a bulleted fast reminder here as a review. Read chapter 3 in the ebook. Read through and watch and complete all the materials in the lecture. Watch the lecture video. Complete discussion number 3. Don't forget about the quick little checking in survey. Anonymous, give me your feedback and questions if you have them. Optional Twitch extra credit, and then you can do the little wrap-up checklist if you just want to make sure that you got everything done. I'll also post a recording of this later today. In a couple of hours, it'll be up if you need to watch it later or if you missed any of it for whatever reason. And again, next week, exam number 1, we will spend a lot of time talking about it. So make sure that you bring any questions you might have about the exam to our stream next week. So I think that is everything. That's everything that I wanted and needed to share with you, about 30 minutes or so. And so if you have any questions, I'll hang out for the next 10 minutes or so. You can put them in the chat. Or if you need to go, you're welcome to take off. I want to be mindful of your time. But thank you again for being on here with me. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful week. Go Chiefs. Go Rams. I don't know. I'm torn on the Rams game. I love Cooper Cup, but you know they beat my team, so I don't know. But hopefully we have some good football games, and that you all have a wonderful week. Stay healthy. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, so as long as you put your name in the chat somewhere, Angie, that's perfect. And you might want to go back to. You also don't have the football cake next to your name, so like I described a few minutes ago, you're going to want to go do that last piece. Okay. Yes. So thank you for asking. Is it Ariel or Ariella? It's hard to tell from your name. I'm so sorry if I got it wrong. But yes, after we are done today, notice how if you go back to week 2, see how there's a recording right under the optional extra credit. So later today, it takes a couple hours to download, and then I have to upload it. But I will put it right here in a couple of hours. There will be a recording that you're able to watch later today. So if you missed part of this or you joined me late or had to leave early, it will be there for you to watch. You're welcome. No problem. Okay. Wonderful. So I hope, again, you all have a wonderful day and take care of yourself. Yes, Prime is free for students, right? It definitely is for 6 months, I believe. If you go back in our announcements, Chance, I sent that out. So I think it was week 1 or just before the class started. If you go all the way back, see how there's an announcement here that says free Amazon Prime for students. So you can go check that out. Somebody sent that to me, a student sent that to me, and I wanted to pass that along. So yes, there's some information on there about that for you as well. And again, don't stress about it. If you can't figure it out, it's okay. I won't be upset or anything. Just if you can, it's obviously helpful. All right. So I'm going to minimize my video. And if you have any questions, I'm still here. I'll hang out for a little while. But again, thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful week. And if you think of anything, feel free to throw it in the chat, and I would be happy to answer it. Okay, thank you. Right, the easiest things that are free, right? They make it so difficult because it's free. And so obviously I think they're trying to deter people from using it, but it is something that you can do for free. And once you figure it out, it's not a big deal. But that first time, that first time getting it all linked up is a little bit of a pain. Yes, if you can't attend the live stream, reach out to me by email and we can talk about some options. So if you're not able to make it to these, you can always email me and I would be happy to talk about it with you. It's so true. Laundry. It's always laundry and dishes that take the longest, right? You're welcome. No problem. But yeah, I feel like I spend hours every day doing dishes. It's like the simplest thing, but it takes forever, right? It's so true, Chance. I agree. Let's see. I'm actually looking at my email right now. What is your actual name? M Arcus. I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm assuming. As I said that out loud, I'm like, oh, if you're Marcus, yes, I did get your email. Okay, good. That's what I thought. I was guessing, so I'm glad. Marcus, yes. So I reached out and I found out what happened. I wrote you back, and it looks like you wrote me back. So I actually need to send you an add code. I'm not able to add you back, but you can add yourself. It should still work today. So I will try to send you over that add code in just a second here. So I just need to find the code, and then I will try and get that over to you so that you can get yourself added back in. So please try and add today. If it doesn't work, let me know, and that way we can go from there. And Marcus, you were in 30867, right? That was your CRN. I'm making sure I get you the right code. 30867 is the CRN that you were in. If you could just verify. And Marcus, what you're going to want to do is whatever you send them. I know I'm trying to go back. I'm not seeing your old email, but I will send you the add code, and then you should be able to add the CRN for our course, and it's going to ask you for a code, and that's the one that I'm sending you. So if it doesn't work, it should work today, but if it doesn't, let me know, and we'll have to fill out like an official form and so on. So I'm going to send you that code here in just a moment. I just need to find out which CRN you're in so I can send you the right one. Okay, perfect. So it is 30867. Yes, perfect. Okay, so I'm sending you the ad code right now. I just sent it to you for 30867 so that you can go ahead and get yourself added. Let me know if it works or if it doesn't work, and then we can go from there. All right, everyone, I'm going to close this up so I can start the upload, download, and all of that. But if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. And again, have a wonderful week. I'll see you all next Thursday morning.